If you're over 50 and you've been looking for a new job for a long time, for a very long time, you may be wondering, what in the hell? Why can't I get a new job? Maybe you're pointing fingers at that HR manager. You're pointing fingers back at the people that you used to work for. Maybe you're even thinking it's the people that you work for now are holding you back when you apply for a new position. Well, it could just be possible that you're not acing the job interview. Maybe you're saying things that you shouldn't say and you don't realize you're doing it. It's become a habit. And now you're looking back and you're just saying, man, I'm not going to find a job. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of looking. Well, in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you 7 horrible things to avoid saying in a job interview when you're over 50. And the tips that I'm going to be giving you after I tell you what not to say, those tips maybe, just maybe, they can help you to ace that next job interview. I'll tell you what not to say. I'll tell you what you should say right after this break. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes, and as I said before the break in this video, I'm going to tell you 7 horrible things to avoid saying in a job interview when you are over 50. I'm also going to give you some tips on what you should say in that job interview. But before I do, I just want to mention that this video is sponsored by Career Fitter. If you follow my channel, you know I am an advocate. I am a supporter of career aptitude tests because I believe they can help steer you. Good ones can help steer you to a career that better fits your skills, your personality, and of course your interests. Career Fitter, Career Aptitude Test, they offer a free version of their test. There's a link to that free version in the description box. By the way, there is also a paid version. If you like the free version, you want to dive deeper into your career, well, check out the paid version. Again, there's a link to that in the description box. So now let's get on to our video. Let's talk about the 7 horrible things you should never say in a job interview when you're over 50. Number 1, never ever talk bad about your former employer, your former boss, and especially don't talk bad about your former HR manager. Now, we all know this. There's no question. But when you're over 50, and if by chance you've been looking for a job for a very long time, you could be frustrated. You could be angry. Chances are you're going to be frustrated and angry because you know you deserve a job. You know you should be hired. You know you've got the experience, the skills, and of course you've got the work ethic that employers want. But you may be angry. And you could be talking about your former employer, maybe a subtle dig, not so overt, but just a subtle dig to your employer. Well, you can bet that that person sitting across from you, whether or not they are a HR manager or whether they are the hiring person who is the supervisor who's going to bring you into their department, they are going to remember that you spoke badly about your former employer. And they're going to be thinking, well, this person, if they leave here, they're going to be talking badly about me. And also, I want you to remember something that's very important. It's a small club out there, especially if you're an HR manager. You're in that exclusive club. You know other HR managers, and don't think for a minute that what you say about that HR manager won't get back to them. So, my advice is do not speak poorly of your former employer in any way whatsoever. Speak highly of them. Say that you enjoyed working there, but it was time for you to move on, for you to embrace new challenges, if that's the case. But whatever you do, don't speak wrongly, don't speak badly about them. It will get back, it could get back, and why risk it? Number 2, don't act desperate. Yes, you've been looking for a job, possibly looking for a job for a few months, maybe even longer. I've had people write me that say, Lou, I've been looking for a job for 8 months. I've been looking for a job for a year, and I don't know what to do. But okay, you've been looking for a job for a long time, but now you're in front of that HR manager, or now you're in front of that hiring manager. Now you're in front of a person who can give you an opportunity there at that company. Don't act desperate. Don't say, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I just need a job. You may be sitting there watching this video and thinking, well, I don't say that. I never say that. I don't act desperate. Well, be sure that you don't have or show any subtle signs of, yeah, I need a job. Even a small mention of it. Just let them know. Let them know that you have value, you have skills, and you bring that to that position, and you know you can help that company grow. You know you can help that company prosper, and you're looking forward to that opportunity. But never, ever act desperate. Number 3, never ask them what they do. Now, yeah, we're over 50 years old, and really, we know that we should never ask that question. Ever ask that question. But you'd be surprised how many folks will walk into a job interview, especially if you're over 50 years old and you've had dozens and dozens and dozens of interviews. Well, one interview could blur to the next interview, so now you're sitting there and you're wondering, where am I at? What does this company do? And it just comes out of your mouth. You say, what do you do? Well, when the hiring manager hears that, they know that you're not serious about that job. They know that you're not serious about that career, about that position. Don't go into a job interview, ever go into a job interview without knowing exactly what that company does. Take the time to go online and study that company. Really understand what they do so that when you're sitting across from that hiring manager, you can pepper them with questions about what you've learned when you looked at Google or when you looked at their website. But never go in, ever go in. Please never go and ask them what they do. Number 4, it's on my resume. You would be surprised how many folks who are asked a question by the HR manager answer that question by saying it's on my resume. In other words, check out my resume. Didn't you look at my resume? As somebody who is over 50 years old, when we go into an interview, we got to go into the interview as sharp as we can possibly be. We also have to understand the psychology. That person that's sitting across from us, they may be thinking, in their head, they may be thinking, well, this person's a bit older, and this person may be a know-it-all, and this person may be hard to work with. I mean, these are things that are considered sometimes by the person who's hiring an older person. And it happens. It's a fact. It's a fact of life, I guess I got to say. When you answer a question almost sarcastically, well, it's on my resume, what you're doing is you're just underscoring what they may be already thinking. Don't say it's on my resume. This is your opportunity to answer a question and to give more detail about what is on your resume, to give more information, to illustrate what's on your resume, to really highlight all the positive aspects, all the attributes that you bring to that position, all the value. So never answer that interviewer's question by just saying it's on my resume. Number 5, I don't have any questions. The interviewer asks you at the end of the interview, and you've covered a lot. Let's say you've been there for 45 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe even a little longer. And that's a good sign, by the way. But let's say the interview's over, and then they're asking you, do you have any questions? And you may say, no, I don't have any other questions. And that would be it. But I would say this. I'd say leave them with this. And this is a tip. Leave them with, I've been really thinking about this position, and first of all, I'm appreciative of the fact that you have sat with me for this, 45 minutes or so or an hour, and I'm really appreciative of it. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about your company. But I do have a couple questions here if I could just take a couple more minutes of your time. And then maybe what you refer to is an article you read about the company and about their growth plans. And you ask them about that. If that person you're sitting across from is excited about their company, they're going to be excited to tell you about their growth plans. And the energy that you could be creating by asking that simple question. Hey, I read this article. It's exciting what you're doing. Could you tell me more? The energy that you're creating is positive energy, and that could go a long way to helping you to get that position. So my advice to you, my tip, is if they ask you at the end of the interview, do you have any more questions? Be prepared to ask them at least one or two questions about the company, because that will go a long way in helping them decide whether or not to hire you. Number 6, never ask about pay, benefits, or vacation. Now, I'm going to qualify that by saying unless they bring it up first. But never ask those 3 questions. Never ask about pay. How much am I going to be making? Don't ask about benefits. Hey, what's your benefits like here? Don't ask about vacation. You're already looking towards vacation, forward to vacation when you are just interviewing for this position. That's what I'm thinking if I'm the HR manager. I have hired hundreds of people myself. I've hired hundreds of people in my companies, in my publishing companies, my natural trade show companies, my radio show, my other businesses. I've hired hundreds of people. I've interviewed at least 10 times that many. And this question, or I should say these questions, come up more often than I would really like to hear. But they do come up. And if you are somebody who is over 50, your laser focus is on getting that position. The only time you talk about those 3 things, whether it's pay, benefits, or vacation, the only time you talk about it is if they bring it up. Now, most of us have heard this from other folks. We've gotten this advice, these tips from other people. When we're over 50, and again, I refer back to some stuff I said earlier in this video where I've said, hey, we've been looking for a job. Many of us have been looking for a new position for a long time. We haven't found one. We finally get an opportunity to sit in front of somebody, and then we just start blurting out stuff. You know what? Don't do that. Be in control, have control, be professional, be laser focused on that position. Don't ask about pay. Don't ask about benefits. And whatever you do not ask about vacation. Number 7, don't BS. I don't know how else to word it. Don't BS. You're sitting across from that hiring manager. They ask you a question, and you don't know the answer, so what you do, you make it up. That's what you do. You make up an answer, and they see right through you. They see right through you. If you don't know an answer to a question, it's much better to say, let me think about this for a second. Let me think about this. This is an important question, and I really want to give this question some thought. So could I get back to you on this? Could we talk about this in another second or two, another minute or two? Or maybe what you do when they ask you a question and you don't know the answer, other than saying, hey, let me think about it, you could say, well, you know what? That reminds me of a similar product that I used to demonstrate, or it reminds me of a software program that I work with, that I'm very adept at working with. But never, ever answer a question by just BSing them or thinking you're pulling the wool over their eyes, because you're really not. I had a business partner one time, and he was he thought he was really good at basically not answering a question. He thought he was good at BSing that person, that client that he was talking with. But inevitably what happened, what he heard later on, was they didn't believe a word he said. You don't want to be in that position. So if you don't know an answer to a question, don't BS them. Don't just think you're pulling the wool over their eyes and, yeah, I'm really good and I know what I'm doing, and they believe me, because they probably don't. So whatever you do, again, if you don't know an answer, just say, hey, let me think about it for a second. That's the best way to go about doing it. Well, there you go, my friends. I've just given you some tips. I've told you 7 horrible things to avoid in a job interview when you are over 50. If you do happen to have any questions about anything that I covered here today in this video, go ahead and make a comment, or you can go ahead and you can send me an email. My email address is in this video. I look forward to hearing from you. I do try to answer questions as fast as possible. I literally get hundreds of comments every single week. I also get a lot of emails, so I will get back to you as fast as possible. Now, I do want to mention a couple things here. Number one, I want to remind you that in the description box of this video, there is a link to the free career aptitude test. It's courtesy of Career Fitter. If there's a paid version, you can take the free one. If you decide you want to go ahead and dig deeper, well, you know what? You can take the paid version as well. Now, something else I do want to mention here, I don't think I mentioned it in the beginning of this video. I also have a second channel. It is called Side Hustle Rules. On that channel, what I do is I guide you through the process of starting a side hustle. For many of you out there, you're looking for a job, you've been looking for a while, well, you know what? Starting a side hustle is a great way to ensure that you have income coming in. So I do have the Side Hustle Rules YouTube channel. Check it out. There is a link to that channel in the description box. Well, that's all I got for you today, my friends. As I said, and as I always say, have a great day, everybody.